and I am ready to move into the final game of the set between GoRush and Perfectman. Let's get moving. Of course, we are back on Pathfinder. This is most certainly the third game of the set. I'm not playing the first game again. We do have GoRush up here in the 12 o'clock position, showing that he can actually falter to early aggression, not only being the early aggression king himself in this tournament, will actually, luckily for him, scout in the correct direction, and it looks like Perfectman down here in the bottom right spawn. I can't really give this a clock reference, it's more like 5 o'clock if the clock was in the middle of the map, but he is building his pylon back here and gonna move his probe to scout. He will see where the overlord is coming from, so that will give him a very quick scout of GoRush's base, which will be incredibly beneficial to him. It's times like this I wish I had my trusty co-caster with me, as I could actually drink and cast at the same time. But for now my voice will take the beating of talking constantly, and it will actually make things a little bit harder for me, but it's fine because we do have a spawning pool going up. That is an overpull by GoRush by the looks of it, and the probe will scout this, opting to build a forge this time, not going for 2 gateways again. Lightning may strike twice, but GoRush, or Perfectman, not thinking it will strike in the same location, is not going to opt to go for 2 gateways first, which will give GoRush a little bit of a slight advantage here moving forward. Of course, this will allow, of course, Perfectman has to build a cannon here. He's going to force the overlord to move away. It's somewhat interesting that GoRush doesn't want to risk moving the overlord to the main. But guessing from previous experience, I would imagine that Perfectman will be going for a Forge Fast Expand. That's it, Forge Fast Expand, not Forge Fast Expand, but there we go. Another overlord is being sent out to check this extra main to make sure that Perfectman doesn't try and hide anything over there. And gas won't be going up yet, but the hatchery is going down. This drone is most likely going to go take a third to get 1 base up on the Protoss. Just going to play the super standard. Both players are on match point, so whoever wins this game will be moving forward to the round of 4. 2 Zerglings are going to come out, not more than 2 this time, not opting to go rolling all in. He's just going to play it super standard. He's actually going to take this extra main. A very strong choice for Zerg to do this. Of course there is the base up here which is very powerful, and even this base against Protoss due to the layout of the map. But for now, Perfectman is going to have to add his gateways. He's going to add on an extra cannon. He's only seen 2 Zerglings, but he knows GoRush could very well opt to do some form of all-in off the back of this. He's actually going to take this natural, which is even stronger due to the fact you can cover the ramp and then take a 4th. But yeah, so GoRush not doing anything overly aggressive here, and Perfectman almost being overly defensive. He's not actually adding on his Zealot yet, so he's going to skip his first Zealot for a very long time actually. This could be bad for him, but well, it would be bad for him if he didn't know that GoRush... Wait. No, yeah, this must be very bad for him actually, because if GoRush was being aggressive, he would have a very hard time defending this with just probes and cannons. So luckily enough for him, GoRush doesn't actually opt to be overly aggressive. He's going to go 2 or 3 hatch layer, so we could even see a Hydralisk bust come from him here, or he could actually go straight into Mutalisks. Mutalisks of course are very strong on this map, as you can see here in GoRush's base due to the fact the overlord scouted it. This is a semi-island map, so all the mains are in the center of the map and they're all raised above ground level. So it is very possible for Mutalisks to just fly in and fly out of any direction of the base they want. A probe does, luckily enough, get in and scout the layers going up, So he will know there's a lair coming. He probably feels a bit silly building 2 cannons when he didn't even need to, but they will come in handy later on, especially if GoRush decides to be a little bit more aggressive moving forward. He's actually now adding on some extra Zerglings. He was going to build a Sunken there by the looks of it, but he changes his mind, and he moves another drone there instead, so he's going to add to... there we go, he's opting to add his extra hatchery on to add the wall by this egg, which of course, a very powerful choice against Protoss due to the reliance on Zealots. Perfectman's actually going to add an extra cannon here to defend, and depending on what tech choice we see, we do see a Spire coming out, so this of course could be for Mulus, or he could just be preparing Scourge for the eventual Corsair Reaver. Well, of course there is Corsair Reaver, but it's more than likely Corsair DT, especially with this Citadel of Adun coming up. Of course this is very normal because you do need to go for Storm, especially if there's some form of 3-hatch Hydra play coming, but GoRush is just playing somewhat passive this game actually. He's just going to defend up, or defend what he has. He's going to move drones down here knowing there's nothing out on the map to A, scout this, and B, well there is this probe, but the drones have already gone past. So GoRush is in a strong position here, he's on his 3rd base. He's not over-relying on aggression this game, realising that his tournament life is on the line here, so he's not going to risk anything with anything crazy. He's just going to play this very standard, and Perfectman looks like he's going to be doing the same. He's adding his Templar Archives. He's actually fearing Mulus here is actually going to add on 2 extra cannons. He already has 1 in the mineral line, which is in a very nice position away from the from that, but the Spire is actually just for Scourge, and the Spire are going to find out that there is actually no Stargate in his base, so he's not actually going to be able to do anything but scout with the Scourge. But that's even better for him because he doesn't have to worry about any form of... well, as he's now seen anything, he knows there's no aggression coming. Perfectman has wasted a lot of money on cannons that he just quite simply doesn't need, and GoRush is adding on his 4th and getting further ahead in this game without really needing to do anything. Just the fear of aggression from Perfectman has actually put GoRush ahead in this game, so it shows even in community-based tournaments with maybe not pro-level players. I actually had a discussion about this the other day, well it was yesterday in fact. Someone said that mind games and stuff like that wouldn't come into these sorts of tournaments, and it looks like it already has. Perfectman is defending quite heavily against something that isn't coming to his base. Of course he did scout the Spire, but he's overreacted thinking Mulus are coming when they're not, and of course, well here they are, but that doesn't invalidate what I'm saying. He did defend very early with a lot of cannons to defend against aggression that just simply didn't come, so GoRush did actually really abuse the fact that up until now in the tournaments he's played very aggressive, and it's worked out for him very well. And his bases are so well defended against anything that could come towards him that Perfectman is going to find it very difficult to actually do anything from here. He's playing from really far behind now. He's actually 30 supply behind, which I don't believe is that odd for a PvZ, but when there's so few units out for GoRush it could actually be quite weird. But of course there's no Corsairs up to defend with, or to defend against Mulus in the middle of the map, and they're going to chase these Zealots down which are running towards his base, which is already nicely walled off with Sunkens and his Hydralisk Den. So these Zealots aren't actually going to be able to do anything. And that was weird, but yeah, okay, someone's banging on the wall or something, that's weird, but whatever. The Mulus are now going to fly across the map. They're not really going to be able to achieve anything. They could even take out the cannons, there's so many of them now, but Perfectman of course is behind. And they're actually going to try and take out some probes here, which is going to be very useful for him. And even a Dragoon being taken down by Mulus Sniper here. Probe count is slowly dwindling. The Mulus have actually done way more damage than they really deserve to, considering how many cannons he built. But GoRush is just getting further ahead. He's going to have to suicide these lings and actually go on to get in. There's so many Zealots behind this. The cannon placement is actually working against Perfectman here, because these Mulisks, there are a position where they will get shot by the cannons when they come in close enough to shoot the Mulisks, or shoot the probes, but he does get a few probe kills anyway, not actually losing any Mulisks yet, which is very powerful for him. And yep, 2 extra macro hatches being added, going up to, I believe, 7 hatches. Very standard. Is now going to switch into Hydralisks, and even with these Zealots moving across the map, he's going to come across Hydralisks on these Sunkens again, and I think this is going to be somewhat of a suicide attack. He may be able to take down the Hydralisk then if he focuses, but the Mulis should be able to deal with this with the Sunkens, and the Zealots are going to try and run away, but there's just not enough of them in a good enough position. Well, not enough Zealots to do any damage, should I say. They can't actually attack the Mulisks. And DTs do actually get dropped into GoRush's main. And it doesn't look like there's actually an Overlord here, which is somewhat of an oversight here. There's an Overlord now, and the 2 Zealots get taken down after only taking down a few drones of mining gas. A very nice drone pull. He actually drone pulls very far away rather than just as natural, but I suppose he wanted to avoid any form of storm drop coming in from the other side. And the Mulisks are going to move across. They're going to find Dragoons to fire at them, but there's enough Mulisks that you should be able to actually take out the Dragoons before they can actually kill any Mulisks. So it looks like Perfectman is finding himself in a very bad position here. Still trying to hold on. GoRush has Overlords, and Overlords mainly, and Zerglings dotted around all the map. Shuttles aren't going to be able to move through, and a huge Hydralisk flood is now going to move up to the middle of the map, and that is of course going to be incredibly beneficial for GoRush. He could in fact even just push and kill Perfectman at this point. There are storms involved, so it is going to be more difficult than that. Of course, Zerg does have a hard time pushing into Protoss, but with these Mulisks and these Templar going into a very, very dangerous position, he actually wastes a storm trying to take out some Mulisks. He could actually find himself in a lot of trouble here. There's so many Hydralisks outside his main, and this is going to be very dangerous. He has very, very few units against this many Hydralisks and the Mulisks. He does have Storm, which is going to benefit him, but one of the High Templar does get sniped, and the other High Templar don't storm quick enough. They all go down. One storm does go down, but all the High Templar are dead, and all of Perfectman's units are dead outside of these Dragoons at the back, who are just being focus fired by the Mulisks, who are being killed as well. But there's just so many Hydralisks, and there's no response. He's going to try and probably add cannons, but he doesn't even have enough money. He doesn't have any probes, he didn't really have any probes mining, so the Mulisks did their damage. And with the Hydralisk pushing into their natural, it looks like Perfectman's hopes of getting to the Bacchus Offgamenet Starleague round of 4 are slowly dwindling. He's going to try and hold his ramp with what he has, but there's just far too many Hydralisks. And once again, GoRush showing his macro here, and his ability to put on the aggression, has Hydralisks flooding out of his bottom base. They're going to move up towards the natural, and his other Hydralisks are up in the main. Perfectman does leave the game. I don't know if he GG'd or if it just didn't appear in the replay, but GoRush does move out of the round of 8 and goes into the round of 4, winning the set 2-1. Very strong play by GoRush that game, and whichever Protoss he is going to meet now in the round of 4 from the result of the next best of 3 will of course be up against a tough opponent here. So GoRush proving his might. I'll just quickly